There's no better staff that I'd rather be with in the fire or players, and looking forward to going back to work and getting prepared for a very, very difficult opponent in Oklahoma, who has one of the best defenses I've seen in a while. They really are so multiple and can run and hit and strike, and they're really talented. And appears offensively, they got a little spark last week at the end of the game by bringing in the freshman quarterback that was pretty dynamic.
You at this point, what would you say is your offensive identity? What do you, in a general sense, what are you trying to accomplish?
We're exactly what we're doing. I think we're good at it. Other than 10 turnovers in 2 games, I think there's open receivers. I think we're running the ball effectively. I'm not sure why we would want to change any of that other than.
What's the mindset? You're one of the leaders of this team. What's the mindset for you guys right now heading into Saturday?
Yeah, I think our mindset is to develop upon the games that we have played in, understand the mistakes that we've made with, as a team, and trying to learn from those mistakes in every form of the game, defensively, offensively, special teams wise. How are we able to? We need to put ourselves in a position to win games, and I think that's ultimately the biggest thing that me and the leaders are trying to convey to people. We're in these games, and we continue to beat ourselves. And
what have you seen from Oklahoma's defense that makes it so difficult?
I never played Oklahoma, so I don't know if it's difficult. But
have you seen the film?
Yeah, they play with high motors. Like they got a few guys back there with experience, and then the whole defense in general. They definitely play with a lot of energy, punch the ball out. So we got to come just with our fundamentals, play physical, and just execute.
It's been good. Yards per play has been good. Do you think you guys, if you cut down turnovers, are close to being good offense?
If we cut down turnovers, can we? I feel like, every good offense don't turn the ball over. So we know that we can drive the ball. We got good backs. We got good receivers. Quarterbacks make the plays, and then it's just little stuff that may lead to a turnover here and there, but it's just been happening too consistently. So once we cut those off, we can be a top offense in the country, which we've been saying since the summer.
What do you see on film from Michael Hawkins from Oklahoma quarterback, and what kind of challenges does he and that offense bring?
I feel like he wants to touch the ball. He's a pretty good quarter. He has a good arm. He can throw it. I'm very familiar with this offense and what they like to do. So, as a defense, if we can disguise looks and give him some hard time reading the defense, it'd be an exciting night.
And welcome back, everybody. AuburnUndercover.com, the Auburn Undercover YouTube channel. My name is Nathan King, joined here by Jason Caldwell. Our first road trip of the season, not too difficult, jumping just across the state lines here to Athens, Georgia, to Sanford Stadium, where Auburn is obviously looking to pull off what would be a really big upset win, try to get their season back on the right track. They are sitting at about 22.5-point underdogs today to number 5, Georgia. Jason, in your time covering the team, certainly in my time covering the team, Auburn has not come here and played very well, particularly on offense. Today, for this team especially, it is going to start in the turnover department. We've been waiting to see Auburn play as they fire up the glory trumpet there we'll try to talk over. We have not seen Auburn play a 4-quarter game in the turnover department. We thought they were going to against Oklahoma, and then that really backbreaking interception by Peyton Thorne. They're going to need that today. I think that's obviously where this game starts.
Yeah, no, if you can hear me over the background noise here, it's turnovers. There's no question. We've said it the last couple of weeks. This is an Auburn team that can compete with anybody on the schedule if they don't turn the ball over. That is going to be magnified today. Yeah. We saw it last week against Oklahoma. It's going to be magnified today. Can you avoid turning the ball over? That's where it starts, because this is an Auburn team offensively that has more weapons than any Auburn team that's probably been here maybe in the last 20 years. Yeah. When you start talking about the guys on outside, wide receiver, running back, this team has the ability to go compete, but you can't turn it over, and you got to execute at a high level.
Yeah, and it's no surprise they stuck with Peyton Thorne this week. Up until that interception, he had one of the best games of his Auburn career. In this type of setting, you mentioned the playmakers Auburn has. Their explosive play rate, all that stuff, yards per – it remains a pretty good SEC offense. But I think, Jason, even more so than the turnovers, I wrote about this morning, Luke Dill used a very specific word this week. He talked about situational execution. You're seeing Auburn inside the 40, inside the 35, right before halftime against Oklahoma, a 4th and goal, not getting, a few inches when they needed it. Those kinds of things, even more, not more so than the turnovers, but in addition to the turnovers in this game, can't shoot yourself in the foot on 2nd down and getting 3rd and longs. It is going to take a lot of things to go right for Auburn today to have an opportunity to upset Georgia on the road, but what they need to focus on first and foremost are the things they can control.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. Yeah, like, again, 3rd and short, 4th and short, execute, keep drives going, avoid negative plays on 1st and 2nd down. That may be as important as anything offensively today because that leads to turnovers. And so you want to avoid 3rd and long situations. If you're Auburn, your defense is playing well, maybe there's some situations today where 3rd and long, and hey, we're going to run the ball. We're going to punt it. We're going to try to play field position instead of putting the ball in harm's way a little bit. So maybe you change a little bit about being so aggressive, but it all depends on how the game goes, and that may hinge on the other side of the ball. Nathan, we haven't seen this Auburn defensive front really have to pin their ears back because they've had athletic quarterbacks.
Sure.
Today, can you get pressure without having to send 6 or 7 guys may determine the outcome of this football game?
It could, yeah. It's going to be a big impact here going against a guy like Carson Beck. Look, Mike Bobo is letting that offense throw it around. We talked about it on the Thursday show, but they are a lot lower than you would expect Georgia football to be over the last 20 or 30 years, probably longer than that, in rushing attempts.
Yeah.
When you have a potential number 1 pick at quarterback, that obviously helps you out a lot. But even having Carson back, you look at the Kentucky game, you look at the Alabama game, they've had some struggles in that regard.
Especially early.
Kentucky on 3rd down really struggled in that game. Obviously, he had a lot of interceptions against Alabama. I was looking, Jason, I think they're 106 nationally in 3rd down percentage. That's also not something you're used to for Georgia. So I think your point is exactly right. 3rd and longs, obviously, that's key in any game.
Correct.
But in this type of setting here today against Carson Beck and against this Georgia offense, you've got to get them in those kinds of settings. You certainly can't let Georgia and Trevor Etienne just start to roll on the ground. The game's probably over at that point.
Because Mike Bobo is a run, play action, old school offensive guy, and you start letting Georgia run the football, and it's going to be lights out. And so, can you get 3rd and longs? Can you get Today is a Jalen McLeod day.
Sure.
He's
been great.
We have seen Jalen McLeod be more background guy, playing on the edge a little bit. That is really loud, so I'm sorry. Can Jalen McLeod get pressure, edge rusher that we saw last year? He hadn't been called on to do that a bunch this year. Can he pin his ears back? And him and Keldrick Falk on the edges, can they get the pocket? And then inside, can you get some push in the middle against a Georgia defensive line that has a little injury issues?
Yeah, I think that's a good point by you. Like, there has been these positive signs for this Auburn defensive front, but they haven't needed to have a game plan like this yet. But Jalen McLeod, 7.5 tackles for loss. That's really good. Keldrick Falk is number 1 in the Power 4 and quarterback pressures. Like, they have been effective now in a setting where you don't have to contain the guy in the pocket.
Yeah, this is a pocket guy.
Right.
Yes.
You formulate a good game plan. Hugh Freeze said it was a really good game plan last week. I think for the better part of this season, this Auburn defense has schemed things pretty well. A few spots here and there where they've been frustrated, but I think for the most part they have schemed things pretty well. Jason, at the end of the day, it's going to take a lot of things to go right for Auburn to have an opportunity to get their first win here. I think maybe more so this is an opportunity. They haven't scored more than 1 touchdown in this game since 2009. Today maybe is the day this explosive offense can do that. Start there.
Let's start there and score more than 10 points.
Exactly. And I think, Jason, this game, will people be surprised if Auburn loses? No, but you have to carry some of these encouraging things that you've done or here in the early point of the season with 1 or 0 turnovers. You've got to carry those things moving forward, especially because they have a bye week after this. You would feel a lot better if you come away from this and it doesn't look like some of the ugly games they've had here in the past several years.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And hey, we hadn't really mentioned it. This is the first road game.
Yeah,
for a bunch of young guys.
Could be good, could be bad.
More on defense, it shouldn't impact you as much. Offensively, how does that thing work with some of those young guys at wide receiver? I won't be surprised to see Auburn huddle a little more and go under center a little more. And we saw some of those things last week just to make sure, hey, let's make sure everybody's on the same page. Here's what we're doing. Maybe you do some of those things. And again, it all depends on how the game's going. If you're holding Georgia back offensively, you may be able to go, hey, we're going to be a little bit more conservative and see if we can get this game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and this has been, like we talked about on the defensive side, this has been a pretty good Auburn run defense average-wise through the first several games of the year. Oklahoma didn't really run the ball that much except for a couple quarterback scrambles. Arkansas a little bit, Cal didn't really that much, and so if you're able to contain them in that type of setting, I think you leave yourself open to trying to win on 3rd and longs because Georgia hasn't been super successful there this season. And so we'll see how it goes. Again, Auburn a significant underdog in this game, but you're wanting to come in here and play a better game than you have in Athens really for the better part of the last 2 decades. And so 2:30 or 2:45 is what we've come to learn on ABC Central Time here today from Sanford Stadium. Keep it locked at auburnundercover.com. For Jason Caldwell, I am Nathan King. We'll talk to y'all later.